Is February live started?
Yes, I'm clicking on. Okay. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I'd like to welcome you all for joining his online class for His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj Daily Online Discourse. Thank you all for joining. A very warm welcome to you all. My humble obeisance is to you. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisance is to you. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai. Glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada.
Okay.
1 minute and I'll begin. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mitru sadasam bhaviting vivado madhyamadatamrim vilochananam naisam vihopayam iyanhatonya mayudyate tar dattate swayam sma. When they quarreled among themselves, influenced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking madhu, and then only will they disappear. Otherwise, it will not be possible. On my disappearance, this incident will take place. Well, the Lord is speaking about what will happen in the future. The Lord and his associates appear and disappear by the will of the Lord. They're not subjected to the laws of material nature. No one is able to kill the family of the Lord, nor was there any possibility of their natural death by laws of nature. The only means, therefore, for their disappearance was a make show of a fight amongst themselves, as if brawling in intoxication due to drinking. That so-called fighting would also take place by the will of the Lord. Otherwise, there was no cause for their fighting. Yes, Arjuna was made to be illusioned by family affection, and thus the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So the Yadu dynasty was made to be intoxicated by the will of the Lord and nothing more. The devotees and the associates of the Lord are completely surrendered souls. Thus, they are transcendental instruments in the hands of the Lord and can be used in any way the Lord desires. The pure devotees also enjoy such pastimes of the Lord because they want to see him, the Lord, happy. Devotees of the Lord never assert independent individuality. On the contrary, they use their individuality in pursuit of the desires of the Lord. And this cooperation of the devotees with the Lord makes the perfect scene for the Lord's pastime. Such a beautiful purport. It's almost like a picture Srila Prabhupada's painting about the desires of the Lord and how the devotees follow those desires perfectly in order to please the Lord, in order to assist the Lord in his mission. Om Gyan Timirandasya Ganajana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimakte Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pacharine. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Vasyatya Dev Satarine. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhishya Kripa Sindhu Bhavata. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktarindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this pastime, or this particular verse, describes the disappearance of the Yadu dynasty and how that disappearance was orchestrated by the supreme conductor, the Lord himself. He makes that statement here, showing what will happen, or explaining what will happen in the future. Now, the Yadu dynasty, who are family members of Krishna, devotees of Krishna, have come together and in an intoxicated state fight amongst themselves, and they are no longer present on the earth. They appear to die by the fighting. All of this is the illusion of Yogamaya, not Mahamaya, the external energy of the Lord, which moves the conditioned souls according to their desires to enjoy the material energy and subject them to the sufferings that they are due to their difference of opinion towards the Lord. So this is not the external energy in action, it's the internal energy in action. Therefore, it is completely under the control of the Supreme Lord and his spiritual energies. And what is happening here? The Lord now has decided to leave the world. He feels his mission has been completed, and now it is time to disappear. As he appears in the world in a divine way, so he also disappears in a divine way, although it's not understandable by those with material vision. Only those who understand the nature of the Lord and why he acts the way he does and how he orchestrates his desires in such a way that everything becomes perfect in fulfilling his desires and benefiting his, in this case, his internal energies who manifest himself. Actually, they are demigods, and they are also Krishna's personal family members. Why would they fight amongst themselves? They are devotees. Devotees don't fight amongst themselves, but this was the arrangement of the Lord. So one should understand this particular pastime not as being conducted by the external energy. Their death was not due to natural arrangements, it was due to the Lord's desire. The story actually goes, because there is a story that's connected with the outcome that's being described here. What is that story? Is that some of the children in the Yadu dynasty wanted to make fun of the sages. And so they dressed up one boy as a girl. That boy was Samba, one of the sons of Krishna, a young boy. And they put a big lump of iron in his stomach area to indicate that he was a girl who was pregnant. They went before the sages in a chiding way, and they mocked the sages by saying, "Can you tell us whether it will be a boy or a girl?" They wanted to make fun or mock play with the sages. The sages were not at all inclined to their game, and they became angry. And they said, the birth of that person will be the destruction of your whole dynasty. That shocked everyone. And how that played itself out is interesting. That was a lump of iron. So that lump of iron actually was later cut into pieces, small pieces, and thrown into the river. And the iron filings floated into the river. And then at one point, they came onto the shore and they grew in the form of bamboo rods. They were iron bamboo rods that grew. They looked like bamboo, but they were made out of steel. And one piece didn't get ground up. And one fisherman, whose name was, let me see, what was his name?
Jara.
Jara, his name was. And he was fishing one day, and he pulled up this piece of iron, and he was thinking, "Oh, this is interesting." And so he polished it off and made it the tip of one of his arrows. And now that same arrow later on was shot by Jaro and then went into the foot of Krishna. And as is explained, Krishna died because of being shot in the foot by Jara, the hunter, with that arrow. Of course, nobody dies by getting shot in the foot. So this was the play of the Lord. And he took the opportunity to disappear, supposedly by being killed by this hunter, which was just a show. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in the Chaitanya Bhagavat talks about this particular incident, and he describes it in the longest purport in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is 20 pages, to show how the Lord orchestrates and how the materialistic people will think that the Lord is an ordinary person, therefore he died like an ordinary person. And that the Lord did that in order to keep the ignorant ignorant. Those who don't worship the Lord in devotion can never understand the Lord. Only by bhakti can Krishna be understood. Even those who saw the Lord personally, when he was personally present, couldn't recognize him as the Supreme Lord because they had no devotion. Only those who engage in devotional service and who are fixed in that service can understand at least something about the Lord. And those who were personally present, although the Lord interacted with millions of living entities during his 125 years on earth, only between 100 and 200 living beings or persons, humans, actually understood his position as the Supreme Lord. And therefore, when he acted this disappearance pastime, then the non-devotees, the atheists, or those who have little faith, think that this personality, whose name is Krishna, was just another, at best, powerful person who appeared in the world. They never attribute to him his actual position as the Supreme Lord. So in order to keep delusion like that, he acted this pastimes out just to bewilder the non-devotees and can keep them in illusion. The Lord doesn't try to convince the non-devotees to worship him. He teaches the process of bhakti. He manifests himself in the form of the holy name and the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the form of the deity, in the form of transcendental associations with his pure devotee. This is the way he attracts people, and not by some trickery to attract people. That is not how Krishna acts. He acts through his internal energy and not through the external energy to convince people to take up devotional service. So this pastime is a very interesting pastime. You'll read more about it. It's also mentioned in the 11th canto in detail, where the Yadu dynasty somehow came in contact with this drink called Madhu. It's mentioned here in the purport. It was now known as Madhu. And it was a kind of a liquor intoxication made out of rice. You can do it yourself if you want to, but I wouldn't suggest you do it. And that is, you can ferment rice and turn it into a type of rice wine, which is it's an intoxication. People in India still do that today. They make liquor from rice. So this is what they were drinking, and they became intoxicated, as is described here. And then they started to become belligerent and start fighting amongst themselves. And they wiped each other out. It was a huge fight. But this was all orchestrated by the Lord, as he says here. He says, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking madhu, then only will they disappear. Otherwise, it will not be possible. Because Krishna knew if he left his family members on the earth, they would also become a burden to the earth because of being connected with Krishna. And therefore, he orchestrated this Leela of them disappearing in this particular conflict amongst themselves. Otherwise, he came to relieve the burden of the earth, but then he would be contributed by creating another burden by leaving his family members there whose tendency would become proud due to their association with and connection with the Supreme Lord. So he foresaw all of that, and therefore, and he, of course, winding up his pastimes, it was time for them to return to their position, some back to the spiritual world, some to their abodes in the heavenly planets. Many of them were powerful demigods. So one should understand this pastime in relationship to the explanation given by the acharyas and not simply by material observation or comparing it to something that happens in the material world. That would be considered to be incorrect and offensive. Therefore, this was a make-show fight amongst themselves in order to fulfill the desire of the Lord for them to leave the earthly planet and come back to uh, their respective abodes in the higher realms. So everything is, even now, the Lord is orchestrating his illusionary energy. The conditioned souls in the material world think in an illusionary way that the items that we have created by the energy of the Lord are for our enjoyment. And therefore, people are trying to enjoy the things of this world or the activities among themselves. And therefore, they're under this illusion called Maya. Maya is also known as illusion, or that which is not. Another definition of Maya is that what appears to be, but is not what it actually appears to be. Just like if you see a rope and you think it's a snake, it's not a snake, it's a rope. But you may see it as a snake and become frightened. But actually, it's simply a rope. So, but because people become bewildered by the arrangement of the Lord due to their desire to enjoy separately, the Lord puts them under the bewildering energy called Maya. And therefore, they continue to struggle hard to try to enjoy something that is not enjoyable or something that they're not meant to enjoy. And therefore, they get the opposite reaction. What is that? Disappointment, frustration, and ultimately suffering. And then again, having to come back again in another life to again begin their same show of illusion. So this is the material world. Therefore, one should take knowledge from Guru, from Shastra, that gives us the clear understanding of what is this material world and how it's meant to be used and how we can benefit from using it accordingly. And what is that benefit? Taktua Deham Purna Janmani 19 Mame Disorjuna. One can again return to our eternal abode in the spiritual world. Everyone has a place in the spiritual world. It's like when you go sometimes to a celebration and they make seats for the different guests and they put your name on the seat. You're not there. Your name's on the seat and the seat is there. When you come, you take your seat. So we have a seat, a place in the spiritual world that's reserved for us. It's there. It's waiting to be occupied. But we're somehow or other procrastinating and somehow still trying to sit in places that are not meant to be sit. That is this material energy. And that material energy will keep us in this wrong mindset of thinking we can be happy, successful, peaceful through material activities. And they write books about it. They discard books about it. Someone writes a book, it doesn't work. Someone throws the book away, writes another book, adds another few ideas to it. And some people get excited how to enjoy in this world. But it goes on life after life, uh, situation after situation, because the material energy is Krishna's energy and it works according to his arrangement. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sachara chiram hetuna nevikunteya jagat vipartante. He says, not a blade of grass can move without my sanction. God's control is complete. So if we take shelter under the Supreme Lord in devotional service, we are protected from the illusion and we are guided back to our eternal place in the spiritual world, where life is full of knowledge, unlimited forms of happiness, and it's never ending. So, yeah. So we're making a distinction here between the external energy and the internal energy. So what you're reading here, hearing about here, is the workings of the internal energy, which appears to be very similar to the external energy, but because it's orchestrated by the Lord for his own desires to be fulfilled, it is fully transcendental. It's Daivi Shakti. It's not it's not para prakriti. It's not material Shakti. Okay, so we'll stop there and open it up for discussion.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. So yes, the devotees, you can ask your questions by raising your hand, or you can put your question in the chat window and I can relay it on your behalf if you're not able to do so. Also, a kind request, if you can turn on your cameras to make the session more interactive, personal, that would be helpful. Thank
And
you.
when you turn on your camera, you can also smile to make it even better.
Yes, and smile. Maharaj, a kind request. If is it okay if you can, your
Me?
face is half
Oh,
cut. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah,
That is better.
yeah.
Thank you. So we have two questions. Daria Mataji, you have your hands raised. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. My humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Maharaj. So I was wondering, because I didn't really understand with the difference between the internal and the external energy. You said that this pastime was due to the Lord's internal energy because it was his will. But still, is it also for the war in Kurukshetra, that it was his internal energy because the Lord took part of it, or how can we understand?
Well, Krishna's presence kept his devotees under the internal energy and not under the external energy. When Arjuna tried to act under the external energy, Krishna corrected him. And so, as it mentions here, Arjuna was put into illusion, although he was a pure devotee of the Lord. And he was lamenting over the loss of family members if the war would happen. Krishna told him, Asocham avasocham cha pratyabharam syabhasase gatusams agudatsabscha nanushochan panditaha. A pundit, he called him a pundit. Pundit means learned. A pundit means no, that who is not learned, ignorant. He called him, you're speaking like a pundit, but you are a fool. I must say you're a fool because you're lamenting for those things that wise persons don't lament. They don't lament for the living or the dead. So Arjuna was put into that consciousness so Krishna could speak the Bhagavad Gita. But for Arjuna to adopt that on his own would not be possible. But being under the influence of illusion created by Krishna, it wasn't the external energy, it was the internal energy. He acted as if he was under the external energy. So you have to see the difference between internal and external. One is Krishna's arrangement, Krishna's desire, and the other one is the movements of the three modes of material energy. So, yeah, that battle was a result of other attempts to avert that battle by giving the Pandavas what they rightly were meant to receive, the throne of the world, the kingdom. But because they were stopped and blocked by avaricious forces in the form of their family members, the Kurus, a war was inevitable. It's not that Krishna wanted that war. He tried to avert the war by speaking to Duryodhana to give the Pandavas their rightly share of the kingdom. But Duryodhana was so greedy and so hateful towards the Pandavas, who were Krishna's devotees, that he refused all of the requests of Krishna and even tried to put Krishna in jail, tried to arrest Krishna. So Krishna eventually acted as a messenger to divert the war, but Duryodhana didn't want to, so the war came. So that war was, again, orchestrated by the Lord as the solution to the problem. But war is not a solution. It's the last solution when no other solutions work. It's not that Krishna wanted that war. He wanted the Pandavas to have their throne. He wanted the world to be ruled by saintly kings and not by avaricious despots. So when Krishna wants something, then everything comes under that energy, the spiritual energy, and the spiritual energy starts to move things. But there's always an interplay between the spiritual energy and the external energy. So you see that in all of Krishna's pastimes.
So Maya was also due to his internal energy, or illusion? Maya, is it due to Krishna's internal energy?
Well, there is two kinds of Maya. There's one that's called Yoga Maya, which is Krishna's energy to fulfill his plans, to perform activities. And then the external energy, which is Mahamaya, is that same energy who dilutes the conditioned souls to think that they can enjoy in this material world. Same energy, just like electricity. Electricity is one, but if you plug in a heater, you get that electricity gives you heat. If you plug in a refrigerator, that electricity gives you cold. Same energy.
Thank you very much.
And so when you approach, it depends on you. If you want to enjoy this material energy, you're put under Mahamaya. If you want to come back to Godhead and engage in devotional service, you're under the spiritual energy, the Yoga Maya. It's up to you which one you want to choose. Both are Krishna's energy. They work in different ways, that's all. Krishna doesn't interfere with your independence. So don't waste time playing around with the external energy. And after so many years of frustration, then you start to wake up and get serious. Get serious now. Take advice from the scriptures. Take advice from the acharyas, the spiritual masters who are telling us what is the nature of this world and how we can actually free ourselves from the sufferings of this world. Don't try to experiment and see if it works or not. Just take the instructions. That's intelligence. It says that a wise man learns by hearing, a fool learns by experience.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Um, Jai Radha Mohan Prabhuji, you can go ahead next. And then there's a question in the chat window which I can read.
Mhm.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, I had a question regarding sanction. As you mentioned, that Krishna sanctioned the act of a person. Like I have seen, like me and other people, we see that people do good things and bad things both. So I'm quite confused how the independence works and how sanction from Krishna works in this way. It's quite confusing for me.
Well, he's going to sanction whatever you choose by putting you under the control of one of the two energies. That's all. It's your choice. He gives you the knowledge to choose the right way, but still you have your independence. You can choose Maya. You choose Maya, and then the results are that you get entangled in material activities, which are both pleasing and unpleasing. They can be pleasing for a little time, and then they can be unpleasing after some time. Spiritual energy is always transcendental. It's always auspicious, always beneficial, and always a source of happiness. You choose. But Krishna is helping you to make the right choice. That's why he sends the spiritual master, he sends the scriptures, he sends the association of devotees to guide us in the right way. So he's active by giving us an opportunity to make the right choice. But still, the choice comes to you. Every minute we can choose Maya or Krishna. It's not like once you choose Krishna, and then that's it. No. You can, every minute you have your choice. Where you're going to put your focus on trying to enjoy this world or trying to engage in service to the Lord. That choice remains eternally available. Even when you come to the spiritual world, you could choose to go back to the material world if you want. But you won't do that because of being burnt by the material world. And now you have learned your lesson. So how long does it take us in this world to learn our lesson before we decide to take up Krishna consciousness seriously? Some of us take years, some of us take minutes, some of us take lifetimes. Depends how much you're covered by the illusion.
Please bless me. I could make right choice, Krishna conscious choice all the time.
I will not only
Divine
bless you,
blessings.
I'll make sure you do it. That's my business. So you make sure you make the right choice.
Jai Gurudev. Thank you.
Every moment we're faced with a choice. Is it Maya or is it Krishna? Am I going to eat this food cooked by the non-devotees, which is very nice, or am I going to take only prasadam? Okay,
Thank
so
you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
okay.
Uh, Amritanam Mataji, you have raised your hands. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances, all glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Okay.
So, yes, yeah. So my question was, how do we understand that we are endeavoring or we are over endeavoring? Because over endeavoring is not advised by the acharyas. So sometimes we cannot recognize the line between endeavor and over endeavor.
Who's going to tell you?
Gurudev.
Well, you have to give an example before you can decide what is endeavor and what is over endeavoring. So each situation has a certain understanding. Over endeavor really applies to collecting more things you need for your devotional life. You're thinking, I need this to be Krishna conscious, I need this to be Krishna conscious, I need this to be Krishna conscious. That's you fall into that category of over endeavoring, where Krishna consciousness is not dependent on what you have, it's depending on your desire and your activity. If I get this, then I'll be a devotee. If I can finish this, then I'll be a devotee. In other words, we put conditions on our seriousness in Krishna consciousness, and Maya just gives you that idea. Oh yeah, you just get this first, and then later on you could be a devotee. Or go here, you got to try this before. You got to get burnt out between material energy before you can really appreciate spiritual energy. So just keep going until you can't go anymore. Then you can take up Krishna consciousness. That's foolishness. Because you might not make it that far.
So over endeavoring is the trap of Maya to put the conditions to keep us away from understanding spiritual part.
The word over endeavor usually applies to material things. Goswami makes that statement in Nectar of Instruction, to over endeavor for material things that are not necessary. Like there is some endeavor, just like if you want to do book distribution, so you need books. So you have to make endeavor to get the books. That's not over endeavoring. But then again, you might start thinking, I have to do book distribution. It has to be on this particular day, and I have to have this particular book, and I have to have this particular car to drive me, and I have to have this particular person to be the driver who drives me to the place. So you try to make so many arrangements. That's over endeavor when the service is easily executable. So Rupa Goswami says this is one of the fall downs in Krishna consciousness, over endeavoring for mundane things, which are not necessary.
Sometimes it happens too much that we take up a service and we really get too much into the service. Means we really have to endeavor a lot in that service. So do we have to reconsider that service, or do we have to go to our guru
No,
to understand whether this is endeavor?
you mentioned service. Now, some services are easily executable, and others require more time, energy, and paraphernalia in order to complete it. So it depends on the service. Just like you're an artist, you can't paint all the time. You have to be in the right mood. When you're in the right mood, then you can excel in your artistic expressions. So that's one of the elements of consideration. You have to have all of the ingredients you need to paint, and you have to have an environment where you're not distracted. So using yourself as an example, you'll see that certain things require more paraphernalia, more arrangements than others. If you're going to cook breakfast, that's one thing. If you're going to cook a feast, that's something else.
So we have to consider the service, what it requires, and then decide. Okay.
Yeah. Rupa Goswami is mostly talking about things that are materially oriented.
Mm-hmm.
But Prabhupada gives
Thank you.
examples of read that purport. It's the Nectar of Instructions, verse number 2. Yeah.
Hey, thank you. There's a question in the chat window from Parijat Mataji. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada and Your Holiness. Srila Prabhupada explains that the Lord's pastimes becomes perfect when devotees cooperate with his desires. In a community of devotees, what does genuine cooperation in devotional service looks like in practice?
When it's happening, you'll notice it. When it's not happening, you'll also notice it. Yeah, think about that. That's the answer. When you cooperate together, you'll find things become easily executable. Why? Because the cooperation brings the mercy of the Lord. When there isn't cooperation there, then the mercy of the Lord becomes absent. So Krishna is pleased when devotees cooperate together. That pleases him a lot. And therefore, he adds his mercy and things become easy and natural and joyful.
Thank you.
And cooperation means there should be some organization. You're going to set up a festival, and then you have different services that devotees must do in order for the festival to develop. So then you get the leaders, they get together and they give certain services to different departments to carry out. And when they all work to follow their instructions and they all work in a joint way, then the festival becomes, manifested nicely. That's an example of, cooperation on a huge level. On an ordinary level, it's like if you're cooking in the kitchen, somebody's cutting the vegetables, someone's cleaning the pots and giving it to the cook, and then there's the cook, and then there's another cook assisting that cook. So there is cooperation in order to make the meal nice.
Okay. Thank you. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Very much. How can we make every service that we do, every visit to a holy place, every book that we read, every sangha that we go to, every class we hear, a heart transforming experience?
When you get absorbed in the activity, and you think how to make the activity, just like if you're reading something, read with the idea to understand, reflect, go back over, understand it. And all right, so you have to, so that may be something you like to do. So something that may be less desirable, but still you have to do it. Then you learn what it needs to make that service successful, and you put all the ingredients together. The desire to please the Lord and work in such a way that you can offer something that is offerable. In other words, quality is one of the indications of bhakti, in the sense that one is trying to do the best they can in whatever service they're doing, putting their attention in it, putting their intelligence in it, putting their knowledge of experience in it. But all, then whatever you can, all the ingredients you need to make something come out nice, offerable. You're writing a poem. So you sit down, you get an inspiration, and you just go and you write a whole poem. But then you realize that was just an expression. Now you go back over it and you tweak it and you change some of the words and you maybe eliminate something you wrote. And then you keep doing that until you get it to the point where, yeah, now I can offer, now this is what I want to say. So that's putting quality into it, that's putting attention into it. Does that help? I can't hear you.
Thank you very much. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Hey,
And it requires thought, contemplation on each thing as it comes up.
Yeah. Try to do it as nice as you can. Even when you take prasadam, try to see it as Krishna's mercy coming in the form of food. Honor it as a gift from Krishna. Eat in such a way that you honor the food and not simply just finish it so you can do something else. That's why it says we don't eat prasadam, we honor prasadam. So that honoring is bhakti.
It's beautiful, Maharaj. That sounds like changing what we see from black and white to colour.
Yeah, that's a nice analogy. Rainbow.
Thank you very much. I shall try my best.
Yeah, we have to work at it. Some things we're inspired to do and we give everything, and others we're not. We're just go through the routine to get it done. But if you watch the great souls, you can see how precise they are when they do everything. Their words, their actions, their interactions, very precise. Everything is done in a thoughtful and reflective way, considering the situation, and that's bhakti.
Feels too high an aspiration for me at the moment. Just take one step at a time.
I'm sorry, I missed the last.
Just looking at the great souls.
you breaking up, Prabhuji. We couldn't hear you.
Sorry.
I think I got it.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, let's move on to Shiv.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. The Lord Brahms, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Maharaj, one question I have on faith, Maharaj. My understanding, Maharaj, that there is always this element of an unknown when we talk about faith. Like if we are put into some situation, we accept it as Krishna's mercy, even if we do not know why exactly we are in such situation, and things like that, Maharaj. Although at a high level, we understand it's for our own purification and progress in bhakti. But if some non-devotees around us, it could be family or it could be neighbors or friends or someone, when they observe our life and when they come ask such questions as to why devotees are put through such situations, for them it is like blind faith, Maharaj. For us, it's like unknown element in faith, which is acceptable. Is there a way that we can give them some convincing answer, Maharaj, that they don't look at it in a wrong way of what we are going through?
experience can only be communicated up to a certain point. Experience becomes understandable when they have that same experience or something that is aligned to that experience.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, just like sometimes people give other people advice. People who are receiving the advice, they're considering it, whether it's going to be beneficial for them or not. So when you're trying to explain your own experiences in Krishna consciousness, the more you are experiencing the results of your activities, the more you can somehow or other have some effect on others. But basically, the best way is we try to inspire the others to do the same thing.
Mm.
Because bhakti is not explainable to people who are not in it.
Mm.
If they're favorable, they might appreciate what you're doing, but they can never understand it.
Mm. Mm. Okay.
We're not trying to convince others so much.
Okay.
When the sun is out, people get warm. When the sun is not out, you can try to explain what it's like when the sun is out, but still, because the sun is not out, they can't experience it, understand it.
Okay. Thank you so much. This helps. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have a question. We are nearly at the hour, but if it's okay, I can request a question. So Maharaj, I have read Prabhupada, I can't remember where, but I think it is, and you mentioned as well in your lectures before, that the word bhakti can only be applied to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So I wanted to understand in what sense. So when the devotees of the demigods, they offer their devotion to demigods like Lord Ganesh or Lord Shiva or anything like that, is that not called bhakti in a sense?
But it's mixed bhakti because their bhakti is mixed with their desire for material benefit. There is a statement which is interesting that every activity on all levels has some element of bhakti in it. Elements of bhakti. But it doesn't mean it's actual bhakti. These are elements or symptoms of bhakti that come up in different relationships or interactions. Bhakti is the nature of the soul. So when you give your affection and love to someone else, there's some bhakti there. But it is not pure. It doesn't satisfy either completely. Only when you give your bhakti or your devotion to Krishna does it become realized and pure. Because that's where it belongs. But there's bhakti in all activities to some degree, but these are elements.
Okay, Maharaj.
Just like I was just talking to a gentleman last night at a program, and he was saying he has a real good friend, but sometimes the friend acts differently, and he gets a little upset. And so, because that's his friend, they enjoy each other's company, but other times he feels awkward in that same friendship. So there's some element of bhakti there that keeps them together, but there's other things that make that same bhakti disappear at times.
So Maharaj, if I was to understand it, even if somebody without motive of fruitive desires worship a demigod, let's say out of sentimentalism, or even out theologically they understand and they want to worship without any motive, that wouldn't be called bhakti. But and then even if they do, they continue on that path, they wouldn't be fully satisfied, even if it's unmotivated.
Krishna explains that people who give bhakti to the demigods don't understand that whatever the demigods can give is coming from him.
Yes.
Also calls them gyan. There means their knowledge is damaged. It's damaged knowledge. So Krishna doesn't give any credit to demigod worship because it simply keeps one in the material world.
Thank you, Maharaj. I think what you said about that there is an element of bhakti in everything. It's just tinged. It is minute, but there is some element. So that clarifies for me, Maharaj.
Yeah, I read it somewhere. It's interesting.
Thank you, Maharaj. Amritanam Mataji.
Yeah, just a small follow-up of what Dinanath Gauranga Prabhu was asking. So, Kumar, when somebody is devoted selflessly to a demigod, then do they end up eventually to Krishna or forms of Vishnu?
Well, there's some element, the element of worship is a principle of success. Those who worship others, that worship will, if they maintain that mood of worship, if it gets to the point of Krishna, then it becomes their success. And so, yeah, that's why we say that Prabhupada says, even if you worship Krishna for material desires, it's okay because you're in the house of Veda. But if you worship outside, then that will worship. The only good thing about it is that you have a tendency to worship, but it's misdirected. There's people who don't want to worship anything, they want everyone to worship them. And that's demoniac.
Thank
So
you
you,
so much for
you
the
can give
clarity.
credit for a person who likes to worship, but if that's as best as you can do because of the element of worship. But unless it's the devoted towards Krishna, it won't bring any real benefit. It'll bring some material benefit or some material difficulty.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay,
We have
about 5 minutes to the end here.
yes, Maharaj.
We can go to the protocol is the program lasts 1 hour, but we allow 15 minutes over in certain cases when it's necessary. But beyond 15 minutes, no. So we have 2 questions.
Yes, so Raj Prabhu, you raised your hands first, but please go ahead.
Dinanath, I don't think you're with us today. Where are you? What do you think?
Sorry, Guru Maharaj. I had a class. It just got over, so I joined after class. I had a class at my university, so I could not But I was listening to Srila Prabhupada this morning, Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, and Prabhupada was saying that although Vaishnavas are non-violent, but whenever it is needed, like for Pandavas, they first demanded 5 villages from Duryodhan, but then Duryodhan refused. So they had a war. So my question was the current situation in the world where there are chances of having a war. What would be the Vaishnavas' position in such situation? How we will be behaving, acting in this situation if something like that happens?
Well, I don't understand your question. I mean,
Uh, Guru Maharaj, I want to ask that if a war-like situation happens in India or in any other country, how should the Vaishnavas deal with it, and how should they act in such situation?
you should chant Hare Krishna, that's all. That's Prabhupada's answer when he was talking about the upcoming war, World War III. And the devotees asked, what should we do when a war comes? Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna. And if the war gets too bad, Prabhupada said, you can go to our farms. We have our farms in different places. Go to the farms, he said. The war becomes very bad. But devotees still don't get it about farms. We still will not give up our position. Anyway, so when it becomes dangerous, if it does, then go to the farms. Otherwise, just stay in your position and chant Hare Krishna.
Got it, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Sridevi Mataji, you can go next.
Thank you, Dinanath. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, you have very often told us don't waste your time with people, especially relatives, who really are not interested in Krishna consciousness. But then again, the thought comes if we don't try to connect them, then who will give them mercy? Who will try to uplift them? So, with that sentiment in mind, tomorrow is my father's 91st birthday. He turns 91, and he's still chasing the big American dream, or what it is, I don't know. So, yesterday I just lost all restraint. I said, why are you wasting your time? Chant Hare Krishna like that. Is there any point in saying that? Should I even try again?
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I would think it would be good if you every once in a while remind him what he's supposed to do. He's an intelligent man. He's not a fool. But his intelligence is diverted to material gain. That's all. He also appreciates spirituality too. He's experienced positive things in his life when he became interested in and started practicing spirituality. But his deity is still, the American dollar, right? So Krishna is running a close second anyway. Yeah.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. I will certainly try my level best. With your mercy, with your blessings, maybe some change will happen. I don't know. He turns 91 tomorrow, and
Give
I'm
him
encouraging him.
91st birthday, give him a picture of Krishna in Vrindavan.
Hmm.
Don't give him some stupid present. Just give him a picture of some Krishna in Vrindavan.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. That's a very beautiful idea. I can do that. Beautiful deity picture of Krishna in Vrindavan.
Yeah. I think with your father, you shouldn't give up on him.
Yes, he says that time and again. Your prayers are what gives me strength. Your prayers have saved me. Your prayers this, your prayers that. So he does acknowledge the role of spirituality.
Well, you know, when you get old, you don't change so easy.
That's true.
When you have a calamity in your life, then you might change easy.
Well, he had a recent very nasty bout of illness, and I stepped in and gave him some medicine, which pulled him out. The other doctors gave him, I don't know what medicines. There was no improvement. He was slowly sinking. And I said, please stop and take this. And he turned within 24 hours, he was better. So hopefully, he's beginning to have some faith in me. Till now, I don't think I had any credibility with him, but it seems like those medications work. So maybe he will listen to me. I don't know.
I think he's worth the effort. But don't get to what you call overly optimistic, you know. Just every once in a while throw something spiritual at him as a
Okay.
reminder, yeah.
Okay, Guru. I can do that. Thank you so much for your mercy. I deeply appreciate your mercy and your guidance and instructions in this case. As always. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare
Oh.
Krishna. So I think we can conclude the class, Maharaj. Okay.
Okay.
So vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha samaveta bhakta vrinda ki jai granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Guru Maharaj. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.